I'm Isaiah Poole, and I'm here with Dave Johnson, who has been writing about Mitt Romney and Bain Capital and the implications of that debate. Dave, you just wrote a post about Staples, and one of the claims is that Mitt Romney created 100,000 jobs at Staples. And you have a problem with that claim. What's your problem with it?
Well, here's my problem. There's several levels of the problem with the claim. The first problem is the claim just isn't true. And here's the reason that what Staples did was it consolidated operations by bringing computer store, stationery store, office furniture store, and office supply store into one facility. Good, smart. They then expanded. They had the Bain capital behind them, so they had the money to expand and open up national chain. Good, smart. And then what they can do, of course, is they can consolidate accounting into one place. They can hire their own accountants instead of going outside. All kinds of things like that that make it a much more efficient operation. But here's the thing. What that did was it simply competed with other stores. They put a lot of local stationery stores and office supply and office furniture stores out of business. Fine, that's business. They competed with chains like Businessland and others. So what they really did was they shifted employees to Staples that were somewhere else before. But also, Staples doesn't pay a lot of money. They average around $8 to $10 an hour, and that's barely poverty level. So they shifted jobs and likely lowered a lot of people's pay. Now that's smart business. That's just doing the functions of business, and we should talk about that. But we shouldn't credit Romney with being a job creator. That is not what he did.
So you're not arguing, you clearly said that because a lot of people shop at Staples, they like what Staples does, they like the
Right.
value, they like the convenience, and that's not what your issue is.
No, my issue is that this is the Walmartization of the economy. These giant, distantly funded, often private equity, by the way, chains, the Bed Bath and Beyond and all the others, and the Walmarts, they come in to local areas and they have economies of scale that let them compete. They close down the local businesses, they siphon the money out. Now that's just business the way we've defined it in America. What we need to talk about is not this ridiculous idea that this was job creation. If we want to deal with the problems of the low wages that it creates, we have to deal with that. And the way we deal with that is that we, the people, have to deal with the playing field that businesses compete on. Businesses are going to do everything that we let them do. We let the Bain Capitals come in with the Staples, shift jobs to low wage jobs, which is happening on a mass scale across our economy. We need to be having that debate, not a ridiculous debate about Mitt Romney claiming to be a job creator when obviously isn't. We have big structural problems with the nature of our economic system that we have to address.
So let's start that debate. I mean, because the alternative can't be just keeping inefficient and uncompetitive businesses on life support. What's the other
No,
way to do this?
no. And the Staples, the Walmarts, they're smart. The Walmart's famous for its super efficient distribution system. But let's recognize what's going on is that the Walmarts can squeeze their suppliers, and they do. They squeeze their employees. They squeeze their customers. They squeeze everybody. They squeeze the communities they go into for tax breaks and things, threatening to move to other communities if they don't get them. And what's happening is our communities, our wages are being squeezed to the bone by these giant operations operating within that playing field as we have defined it. Here's where the problem comes in is when we are not setting that playing field anymore. The giant companies are able to use their money to change the terms of the playing field and to influence even the way we think about the playing field. That's where we need to be working, I think.
And so, what should the playing field look like if we, the people, are calling the shots? What do you think it
I
looks
think
like?
that if we were calling the shots, well, obviously we would be asking for better wages. Obviously, the minimum wage would be much higher. Obviously, our government would be providing things like health care so that our businesses aren't burdened with that, as in other countries where the government's doing health care much more effectively, much more efficiently. So our companies have to provide healthcare and still compete with companies from other countries that don't. There are there are so many things. The real problem is not what we should do, but that the debate about what we should do is so hindered where we can't even have that debate because of the influence of money on our economic system. We, the people, create these things called corporations. We allow them to aggregate huge amounts of money inside the corporation, but then we allow them to use that money to influence our uh, democratic process. That's just nuts. Actually, I mean, look at the result. Of course, the people who control that corporate money will then use the power that corporate money brings to influence the system to bring them more money. That's how it would necessarily have to work. And this isn't a problem even of corporations, because remember, the giant Walmarts, the giant oil companies, they're putting other corporations out of business by using their influence on government. An example is the solar industry is trying to take off. The oil industry is able to influence government to stop our government from doing the things we need to do to help those new industries take off. So the problem I can't address what we should change in the economic system. The problem is that we, as a people, are unable to even have that discussion because of the overwhelming influence of money on our system. We need to get this money out of our system so that we can have those debates.
All right. Listen, thanks, Dave. We'll keep watching your work on ourfuture.org and on the Bain of our existence.
Thank you. Thank you, Isaiah. Thanks for having me on.
All right.